Today's video is all about Japan travel and planning tips for a family, especially if you have kids and toddlers or even a newborn. My name is Caitlin and I've lived in Japan for 5 years, and I have a 2.5-year-old that I was pregnant in Japan and I've been raising him. So I feel very equipped to share with you guys what I do when I'm traveling around and raising my son here. My only experiences being a mom, traveling and raising my son have been in Japan. So I don't really have a lot to compare it to, but so far my experience has been pretty positive and family friendly. I think it's a perfect place to come to with kids and babies of all ages. So I feel like you guys are in right hands watching this video. I'm gonna go over a lot of information and I'm sure I'm gonna miss a lot of things too. So if there's anything that I left out of this video that you need clarification on or want to learn more about, let me know because I would love to make another video about this. This is what train entrance and exits look like, and you can see everybody just tapping in and out. If you're traveling with a stroller or large luggage, there are usually wider entrances closest to the ticket gate. It's pretty obvious which ones they are. Kids are 5 and under. They actually don't need their own Metro card at all. They just travel for free with you guys tapping in and out. If your kids are between the ages of 6 and 11, they will need their own fare card. You can get those at the information desks and they'll help you guys get those, or you can get them at the kiosks and kind of figure it out on your own. They translate to English. It's very easy to use, and their fares are at a discounted price. If you are 12 years old and older, you will need your own transportation card, and there's a few different ways that you can go about that. I prefer having my Suica card downloaded straight to my wallet. I have an iPhone and it makes it super easy. I can just tap into anything. Like, I don't have to worry about the fares of anything at all. I can just load it on my phone. You can use your Suica card to pay for a lot of things. I believe Pasmo gives you the ability to do that too, but if you do need a physical ticket or a physical card, you can get those at the information kiosks. They're really easy to obtain, and you can load them at the kiosk, or you can load them at places like convenience stores, 7-Eleven, things like that. As you guys know, it is so important to be as hands-free as possible when you're dealing with luggage and kids. So having that on your phone just makes it so easy and accessible. If you want to go a step further, you can actually add it to your Apple Watch. I'm just not wearing mine today. I totally spaced out and left it at home, but that's even easier. You can just tap and go. Google Maps works here, and that may sound like simple knowledge to a lot of you, but some countries like Korea don't have Google Maps. And if you're especially navigating with a wheelchair or a stroller, there's a tip I need to show you. I'm gonna put in a pretend hotel in Suica Garden. I love their locations in Ginza. Go in and click to get the directions. You wanna go into your options and make sure you tap on wheelchair accessible. This is going to give you the correct connections for your trip and even tell you which one is best for you. The boarding position for fastest exit is car number 3, and then I want to exit via A1. Being able to know ahead of time which exit to take is so important because not all exits have elevators. And if you have a lot of luggage with you, or you have a wheelchair, or you're trying to navigate with a stroller, you need to know which exit has the elevators. Trains in Japan also have priority seating, so always take advantage of that. It's always going to be at the very front of the car and the very end of the car. Priority seating is reserved for pregnant women, children and families, anyone with medical needs or disabilities. Those areas of the cars are super easy to identify, so make sure you utilize the priority seating. Some train cars in Japan actually have areas without any seating at all, and these are reserved for people who have wheelchairs or strollers. You don't have to break those things down, and you can travel very comfortably. Your phones are probably going to die very, very quickly navigating around, and also just being responsible for a child. So they have these things called charge spots. It's an app that you download on your phone, and you can pick up these charging batteries. It's really smart and clever. You can pick them up and return them at different kiosks. But I just wanted to reassure you guys that if you forget a power bank while you're out, these are really easy to come by and find and use and return them at many, many different locations. The app will walk you through everything. The number one thing my travelers are always asking me, other than where to go, is how to stay connected with their phones when they're traveling to Japan. So today's tips are all sponsored by Airalo. eSIMs are SIM cards that are 100% digital that are on your phone so that you can have data on your travels. They connect you to a local server in whatever country or continent that you're on. Whether you need maps for directions, internet access, a translator app, or data to post on social media about the amazing food that you're eating, download an eSIM through Airalo is literally essential for your travels. After you download Airalo to your phone, this is what the app looks like. You can choose from over 200 countries and regions. They even have regional plans in case you're visiting multiple countries on your trip. Their eSIMs do not mess with the SIM card already on your phone, so you get to keep your original phone number and it gets you connected the moment you land. Let's say you're coming to Japan, you can choose a phone plan that best suits your needs. When you purchase your plan, use my code her.atlas 3 to get a discount. And because your eSIM is local, your data is going to be better and faster than an international plan through most cell phone providers. Stay connected with Airalo and use my code her.atlas 3 for a discount on your first eSIM plan, and use the link in my description to download the app today. Thank you, Airalo, for sponsoring today's adventure. Let's talk about breastfeeding in Japan and what is appropriate or not appropriate. So I had my son here and I almost exclusively was breastfeeding him for the first year of his life, and I never stopped traveling. And I really just got sick of worrying about what everybody else was thinking, so I would just breastfeed wherever I needed to. I didn't really think about if other people were paying attention or not. And I can tell you from my very own experience that I didn't see a lot of other moms breastfeeding in public. If they were, it's always done very discreetly, as was my experience. I always had a cover with me. I would say that it would be considered inappropriate to agree to just like have your whole chest out. Japan is a very conservative country, which is why I think that the baby rooms here are so amazing. They do feel like an oasis from everybody. Japanese people tend to be very private and discreet. So with that, I will say, like, if you want to breastfeed on the go, if you want to breastfeed at the dinner table, if you want to breastfeed on the train, do it. I did it. I didn't let me trying to find somewhere to go keep me from feeding my son. I just always had a cover or a shirt to cover him. So with that, I say, do what makes you the most comfortable. One of the pain points parents are always coming to me asking about are hotel accommodations. A lot of people don't realize that hotels in Japan are very tiny, very small, and can accommodate maximum 4 people, and that's if everybody is sharing a bed. So I wanted to share a few things with you guys to help you find and navigate what best suits your family. When my son was much younger, we would specifically look for hotels that had a bassinet add-on. Now this is not at every single hotel, so a lot of times I would email hotels ahead of time to make sure that we could get one. Co-sleeping is still very normal in Japan, which is why a lot of hotels don't always offer bassinets. They just assume parents are going to co-sleep. I don't recommend a pack and play when you come to Japan because the rooms are just way too small and way too narrow. Instead, I would make sure that you find a room that offers bassinets. Now that our son is older, we are totally comfortable co-sleeping with him as long as we get a really big bed or a room with 2 beds. If you are traveling as a group of 4 or more and everyone needs their own space in the room to decompress or their own beds, I always recommend Mimaru. This is a hotel chain located in Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. They can accommodate parties, I believe, up to 9 people with a lot of space in them. Depending on what you need, you can get bunk beds, sharing beds, large beds. They typically have kitchens. They're really set up like an apartment, and it's a great place to decompress at the end of the day. The apartments typically have kitchens or kitchenettes inside, which is really nice because as a family, you guys know that sometimes you just have to retire in early at the end of the day, and it's just nice to have space to sit down and eat takeout or cook. And some of the rooms even have laundry, which is really nice because then you do not have to leave the room to take care of that situation. Now we're going to talk about bathrooms, baby rooms, and where to change the kids, especially if they're still in diapers. The only place I would say you would think you could change your kids at, but you really can't, are the konbinis. They don't have changing tables and things like that there, so I always opt, like, if you know that you need to change them or like reset them is what we say, we always look for a department store or a mall nearby. There is an app you can download on your phone called the Mama Papa Map. It looks like this and it translates to English, and essentially what it is it's a map with pins to different locations so that you can find changing rooms, feeding rooms, and baby rooms. I find this to be really helpful when you're in the city. If you're in like the countryside and things like that, I feel like many people kind of see it the same. Like if you're a parent, you just kind of like figure things out and do things on the fly sometimes. Like if there's nobody around and you just want to change your child like in the stroller or find a discreet place to do it, like sometimes that's just how it has to be. But if you want somewhere to go and you don't know where to go, this map will show you everything that you need. This is what a very standard regular public toilet may look like. You'll have the toilet obviously, and then a lot of them will have a platform so you can put your things down, including hangers for your backpacks. These little toddler chairs are so genius. I feel like this should be standard in all bathrooms because there's nothing worse than trying to keep your toddler from touching things. So it's like a baby trap, and this is very standard in public restrooms. It's really common to find potty training seats inside public bathrooms. So if your kids are going through the potty training stage, you're not like holding them up above the toilet. I have no words for this. I think it's incredible. And then I wanted to show you guys this exceptionally incredible bathroom that I saw in Osaka about 2 years ago. This was in a department store and it came with a tiny bathroom. Imagine if all societies worked like this. Like when you're already trying to teach your kids how to use the toilet and bathroom and then to be able to do it their size so it's not scary, and then a sink that is their size, it just takes the stress and the burden of going out to doing things off. It just makes life so much easier and accessible. I wouldn't say a huge room like this is super common, but it isn't uncommon to see tiny toilets and tiny urinals for kids in bathrooms. Obviously, you can go to the restroom, but what drives me nuts is not all the men's bathrooms have changing tables. So you'll see this for the men's sign, and then the women's will look like this, so you know that you can change them in there. That was something that I didn't really notice until my husband brought it up, because I would have him like go change the baby, and he was like, I literally can't, you have to go do it because I don't have a changing room in my bathroom. So if you don't have a changing station in the bathroom, I'm going to show you what a baby room looks like, or a changing room at the station and at malls. When you're at the mall or a department store and you want to find a floor that accommodates baby changing rooms and feedings, you want to look for the one that has a bottle, and then of course anything with a baby. The ones with a bottle specifically have the actual baby rooms. The ones that have a wheelchair mean that it has accessible rooms, so these are for accessibility and for families. She pretty much all look like this, whether you're in the train station or not. It's really confusing if you've never closed one of these before, but you have to go back inside and hit the button. The only thing I don't like about this situation is that this is the toddler seat and it's kind of next to the buttons. They did put this divider here, which I'm so grateful for. I actually have a very traumatic story about that. When my son was in one of these rooms with me, I was legitimately sitting on the toilet, pants down, and he ran over and opened the door. And once you press that button, you can't undo the button. So yeah, I literally, the door was opened, I was pants down, pulling them up mid-pee, peeing on myself. Luckily, it was a grandma that was sitting outside and she caught him for me. I've actually never told that story to anybody but my husband, and now the whole internet. But let me give you just a quick tour of what the family room looks like. They almost always have one of these combi chairs. You will see these on the trains, like the Shinkansen. You will see these in regular bathroom stalls as well. This is amazing because then you can put them down safely somewhere without them touching things that they shouldn't be touching. This is what a pretty standard diaper changing station looks like. I really have nothing to say about it. It's just a changing table. And then inside there are lots of amenities for obviously accessibility. There is a spot where you can throw away your diapers. I'm with my son or my husband. These are always the bathrooms I go to first. It's just the most accommodating. and just easier. You can bring the whole stroller inside. There's plenty of space and room, and it is for families. My husband and I call it baby privileges because there's usually not a line for bathrooms like this too. I really want to give you guys a baby room tour because they're pretty incredible here in Japan. This is one of the reasons I love being a parent here. The department store baby rooms are just amazing. So if you have to do any feeding, they provide baby chairs. And then if you need any drinks or snacks, you can use the vending machine. We have a nice waiting area. So if one of the parents is feeding, you can just relax. They also have feeding rooms. Hi everybody. So this is a nursing station and there's like private little cubbies for moms. This is a bigger room with a curtain. So you're gonna have lots of privacy if you have to nurse your little baby. This one actually looks big enough for a stroller inside. Other things that I love about baby rooms and nursing rooms here is you can get hot water for your bottles and formula. Just be really careful because it's really hot. A station to wash your hands, trash, microwaves. And then I have a little boy. So I love these changing stations. You can just stand them up to change their diapers. And then over here, they have changing tables. And this is pretty standard baby room for malls and department stores. I love these because you actually just lay the baby down facing you. And it's amazing. I would love to know what you guys think about the changing room in here because when I was in the States, it was not like this. You can find lockers literally anywhere in Japan. And there are many different reasons why you would want to know about the lockers and be able to identify where they are, especially as a family. So one of the ways that we utilize the lockers is by dropping the stroller. Sometimes we just don't want to deal with a stroller for a few hours, so we will leave it at the train station and go visit a temple or a shrine, somewhere we can anticipate not really needing one, but we don't really want to leave the stroller at the hotel all day. Another reason we would use it is to store away luggage. So if we're going to a new destination and we didn't forward our luggage, or maybe we did forward our luggage and we have an overnight bag, we will ditch all of our stuff in a locker at the train station instead of going all the way to the hotel just to backtrack to another location. We like to maximize our travel days that way and just like downsize as much as you can. You can also pay with them using your Suica and transportation cards. So if you have Apple Pay on your wallet, Pasmo, Suica, you just tap to pay and it locks and unlocks it for you. It's very intuitive to use and it also has English buttons. They're really affordable to use, anywhere from 500 to 800 yen. I think this is a pretty standard price for the lockers. You can see that the really tall lockers will fit really big luggage, and then there's tiny ones up here for maybe bags or something smaller. Lockers are all over the place. You can find them at museums, tourist locations, sometimes at the konbini, definitely at train stations. And there's a lot of reasons why you would want to know about them in certain situations to even use them. Speaking of strollers, this is another reason why I always recommend a travel and compact stroller, because you can ditch your stroller in these, which is what we do quite often. But when it does come to a stroller, I do not recommend anything that doesn't like fold really small. You want to think like a city dweller, things that are very narrow, very compact. If you show up in Japan with one of those Uppa babies or Nunas that are traditional in the States, you are going to feel like you are driving a tour bus here. That is way too big. Those are also really hard to push around. I actually have a Nuna that we first bought when we first moved here, and I actually hate it for Japan. It was a total waste of money. Double strollers are also very rare to see here. They're just too wide and too big. Instead, seriously consider getting something very specific to travel. I specifically got one that I could fold so small that it would fit above me on the trains. Stroller rentals are becoming really, really popular in Japan. I'm seeing them pop up all over different train stations and within cities. This one is located at Enoshima Station in Kamakura. The app is called Share Buggy and it's really affordable. I think this is such an innovative and creative idea for parents on the go who don't want to have to deal with a stroller. So it looks like you can download it on the App Store or in Google Play. The prices are 220 yen for the first hour 550 yen for 3 hours and 880 yen for 6 hours. I've never personally used this app before, but it looks really intuitive to use. As a mom on the go, I think that this is such a great and fantastic idea in case you need to pick up a stroller. And it looks like there's already one being used and there are still 3 available. A lot of hotels will ship or like forward your luggage for you. So I'm sitting here filling out my form, so we don't have to juggle my big luggage trying to get on the Shinkansen, on the trains, navigating all that stuff with a toddler and a stroller. My big bag that I just don't want to deal with, I'm gonna send it to my house. But if you're in Japan, you can send it to your next location. So you can send it from hotel to hotel. It'll be at your hotel the next day. So if you are going to utilize that service, then you will need to know your next destination's address. And you just need to know that it gets there the next day, so to pack just a small overnight bag. So as long as you have your address ready to go, you can even choose when your package is delivered. So I'm doing mine in the morning because I know that we'll be home and hanging out. It's 2,210 yen, which is like $15 maybe, and it'll get there tomorrow morning. So for a bag that size, I think that's such a great price. They were telling us how if you are traveling at like a few destinations within Japan, they will hold your luggage for 7 days, the delivery service, which the one that they use is Yamato, which is the famous one that's by Black Cab. And so say you are leaving Kyoto and you're going on like an overnight trip somewhere and then you'll end up in Tokyo. You can actually forward your luggage to Tokyo while you do your overnight trip somewhere else, and they'll hold your luggage for up to 7 days before delivering it. So that was something that I learned new today. That's super great to share with you guys. If you don't need your stroller, you don't need to carry a bunch of luggage in between your day trips, don't. It's 10:45 in the morning the next day and my bag is already here. We shipped it yesterday around 2 p.m. When it comes to restaurants and dining, your safe spaces are always going to be food courts. I know that sounds like really annoying or not the most ideal, but if you have kids, it gives you a lot more space to spread out. And food courts and dining experiences, food floors, food arenas is sometimes what they're called, are really nice and really, really good food. If you're wanting to go to places like ramen shops that are super teeny tiny or izakaya, sometimes they don't allow children, and that's for safety reasons. One, because a lot of restaurants and cafes still allow cigarettes to be smoked inside. And number 2 is because of bar stool seating. It's just not safe for kids, so they may refuse you service. But I just want to show you guys what some of the restaurants look like inside the department stores or food cafe areas. The restaurants are all going to be really nice and accommodating for families. You can spread out a lot more, and a lot of them even offer high chairs and places to park your baby strollers. They usually have high chairs in pretty visible places, so it's easy to know where you're most welcome. Don't want to say that you could never go to a ramen shop, because that would not be a true statement. We've definitely been invited into places like that. You just have to be willing to hold your child, and especially if they're younger, like 9 months and younger, if you have them in a baby carrier, you can pretty much go anywhere you want. A lot of people always ask me what I feed my son when we're on the go, when we're traveling. My son started solids, I think around 6 or 7 months, but obviously for a long period of time, we were still actively traveling. I was nursing him and sometimes needed a bottle to make formula. So combinis are going to be your best friends. I'm gonna show you guys a few things inside that my son eats now. He's 2.5. A lot of the healthier options that you can get your kids, and then also just some things that you may wanna know if you're traveling with a baby who's drinking formula, if you need hot water and things like that. Combinis are convenience stores. I'm just gonna say that in case you don't know. And the major chains are 7-Eleven, Lawson's, and Family Mart. You can find them all over Japan. They are literally convenient stores to be in, so you can find a lot of stuff. This is a smaller store, so they're not going to have everything that I need, but it's nice to know there's a convenient place to go to get things like a thermometer, Band-Aids. These are wet hand sheets. My son has been in a beige food era for a very long time, so we frequent the bread section. We love the pancakes with maple syrup and margarine. They're like pancake sandwiches with syrup and butter in the middle. Another one we loved is the steamed bread with egg. Don't let it sound misleading about the egg. It really just tastes like a muffin. These are really, really good and moist. We've all lived that nightmare where you need an emergency diaper, so just know that you can get those here. They're usually by the feminine hygiene section. This comes in a pack of 5. I think these are a size large. They just carry like a regular standard size. I feel like unless you knew that these were diapers, they're really easy to miss. So yeah, and this is Anpanman and Bikingman, which are beloved children's characters, just to throw a fun fact in there. But yeah, just know you can get diapers at the convenience store if you're in a hot pickle. Egg salad sandwiches are really easy to feed your kids, and I also love them because they're so high in protein. Onigiri rice balls are always a great choice and a safe choice because rice is familiar, and you can get them stuffed with all kinds of things like tuna, eggs, kind of a good way to hide foods that they might not try, and you get it on the go. You can get fresh chopped fruit like pineapple, apple, kiwi, grapes, bananas, a lot of different prepped foods as well. Do not sleep on the soft-boiled eggs. My husband and son love crushing these in the morning. We also love these yogurt drinks. They have them in a lot of different flavors, but I just go for the original, just plain ones. This is really easy to give them in the morning with breakfast. If you need to have milk in your hotel, you can get that from the Konbini too. This is whole milk, and you can tell because it has like the little divot right here in the carton. They have this one, which is smaller, and then they also have a big one. I usually keep a small one, or I used to keep the small one in the room if I need to make bottles. If you need to make bottles on the go, you can also buy little milks here. This is what the tiny milk carton looks like. So these are also easy to do on the go, but they are going to be cold. You need to make formula. That means that you need warm or hot water. So you have 2 options. Sometimes the Konbinis here actually sell warm water bottles, especially in the wintertime. That's really common to find, is warm water for sale. That was my favorite thing to do because I didn't have to talk to anybody. I would just buy the bottles of warm water and just make my formula on the go or heat up whatever I needed to. But if you do need hot water, you can actually just ask them for hot water. If you have a bottle in your hand, it's pretty understandable like what you need the hot water for. So just take it to the front and just ask them. They'll get it for you. And then if it's too hot, you can just cut it with some cooler water, like just buy a bottle of cold water to get it to the perfect temperature. That is literally what I did every single time I needed to make a formula in a bottle on the go. Another thing I would do is travel with a small thermos, and I would get hot water either from my hotel or just ask them to make it for me at the Konbini. That way, if we were like more in the countryside or something like that, I wasn't stressed out about hot water. I just had the hot water on me. There is so much stuff that you can actually get from the Konbini to feed your kids and toddlers. Try to turn it into like a really fun experience for them to try new things. But I also wanted to make sure I reassured those of you traveling with like teeny tiny babies, still drinking milk or still drinking formula, that there's a lot of options for you, and also where you can go conveniently to get things like diapers, because Lord knows those kids know when to have an accident at the most imperfect times. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I know that's so much information to take in, but I just want to say that I'm really proud of you guys for even considering like traveling and visiting new places with a family. I know that it is so much easier to stay home than try to leave the house. But I just want to reassure you guys that Japan's a really great place to come with your entire family of any age. I feel so safe here. I feel like people always go out of their way to help me. And I travel a lot with my son by myself too. So if I can do it, you guys can too. And I already have an idea of a few things I want to talk about in a second video, like riding the Shinkansen and oversized luggage, and kind of do more details about transportation. So if you guys have any other topics that I didn't get to in today's video, please leave it in the comments below, because I really want to be a resource of help for you guys. There's not a ton of information out there for Japan family travel content, so anything I can do to help would be my honor. So I will see you guys in the next one.